The 5 worst things about owning an R34 Skyline. Is the speed. Now, this probably isn't going to mean what you think it's going to mean. This car is not particularly quick. If you wanted to compare it to a modern high-powered diesel like an Audi, a Beamer, a Merc, it's probably going to get smoked in most scenarios. The reason being, this car is 23 years of age. And yeah, I know they came from the factory with a fair amount of power, 280, 290. Is it still that amount? I don't know. I always say it's around 300. That really is best guess. But it's not a particularly new car. It's not a particularly efficient car. It's not a particularly light car. And 23 years ago, it was probably a pretty spectacular street car. Current day and age, 2021, like I said, modern high-powered diesels are going to keep up with me. I think for a car of its generation, and the fact that it's still in standard form, it's not too bad at all. But when people see an R34 Skyline, and this one looking like a GTR, people expect it to be fast and furious quick. When reality, it's just not. It's modern diesel quick. Hey, there's number 5 on my list. I thought I'd add it, even though potentially that will be changing over the winter. Stay tuned. Keeping it clean. So, I'm obviously a car guy. I've had a variety of cars over the years. And when I was younger, probably 19 or 20, I did have an obsession with keeping them clean. But as I get older and I get more and more busy, actually I just want to drive them. Cleaning cars, not a favourite pastime of mine. So whenever I do get this cleaned, I normally pay someone to do it. I don't like cleaning it myself. And the biggest issue with that is, I don't like driving it when it's dirty. Because as you know, as I said in my last video, it's a celebrity. Everyone's always looking at it. Everyone's always paying attention to it, wants to talk about it, have pictures and videos with it. So I kind of feel like, as often as I can, I like it to be clean. It's actually a bit dirty now because I parked it in work this afternoon. It rained a little bit and I work in a concrete place. So you get a lot of dust that falls. So the dust and the water has kind of made it dirty. It is having to clean tomorrow before forge. So yeah, keeping it clean, that's not something I've normally done with my cars. I normally have drivers' cars, I drive the crap out of them, but I don't keep them particularly clean. I keep them mechanically sound and I drive them as hard and as often as I want to drive them. So moving to this one, where it's a bit more of a showpiece, and I got to keep it clean all the time. It's actually a bit of a pain in the ass. But hey, I do it because I love it. No surprise here with this one, cost of ownership. So it is not a cheap car to own, it is not a cheap car to run. Fuel, I mean, I'm lucky if I get 18 to 20 miles to the gallon out of this thing on average. If I'm on a run and I'm behaving, I can probably get 23 or 24, but realistically 18 to 20 is all you're going to see. Now I know you're going to say, it's an R34, who cares about fuel consumption? Well, exactly, but would I drive it more if it was better on fuel? Potentially, potentially not, but it's not just the fuel that's an issue, and it's not just the fuel that costs a lot of money. Taxing this car is expensive. I think it's around £400 a year. On top of that then, you've got things like repair costs. Getting your hands on parts for this car now is becoming difficult. And when you do get your hands on the parts, the issue is that people want ridiculous money for them. Honestly, some of the panels on this car are almost irreplaceable for someone like me and the amount of money that I earn. If I need to replace a set of wing mirrors on this car, it's going to cost me 1,300 quid. Do I want to pay 1,300 quid to replace ring mirrors? No, I don't. And it's that way with just about anything you want to buy. If you type into a search engine on a car parts site or on eBay or anything like that, you type in R34 Skyline, they just slap on this huge GTR tax, making it almost impossible for working class guys like myself to be able to run and afford these cars. And the way it's going at the minute, with prices going up on just about every part they make for this car, me owning it long term is probably becoming less and less sustainable. But you know, it is what it is. I want to own the car, I want to drive it as much as I possibly can, so I have to accept the repair costs and the maintenance costs that come with it. On top of that, you've got things like insurance. This is about 3 or 4 times more expensive to insure than my daily car, my Nissan Almera. Obviously cost is relative, but for someone like me, the cost of owning this car is a lot. Is other drivers. Now I know that you might say, on my last list video, I put other drivers down As a pro, I think 5th on the list. And I still agree with that. Other drivers are nicer to me when I'm in this car. However, as much as I appreciate the fact that people perhaps like the car and want to look at the car and give me a little more leniency with my bad driving, the issue is you can't put your faith in everybody and you can't put your faith in other road users. So the issue I have when I'm driving the car is that I am at a permanent state of heightened awareness. I can't relax when I'm driving it. I'm always completely aware of my surroundings. I'm always paying attention to what's going on, to pedestrians, to road users, to other cars, bikes. And quite frankly, sometimes it can actually be exhausting. So the fear of having another driver rear end me when I'm at a set of traffic lights, pull out at me when I'm on a roundabout, which has happened before, things like that genuinely worry me. And it's one of the reasons I actually don't enjoy driving this car as much as I have other cars in the past. Even though the car is as much fun to drive as it is, and of how lucky I am to own the car, I'm constantly worried while driving it. Most of you probably seen the time, effort and money that I put into this thing, and I obviously worry about driving on the roads, but to the point where it actually hinders my enjoyment of driving it, because I got to pay so much attention to what's going on. Funny enough, it's exactly the same thing as number 1 on the 5 best reasons to own an R34 Skyline. The car's a celebrity. Now what I mean by that is the same thing I meant in the last video. It is always being watched. Everyone is always paying attention to it. That gives you literally zero privacy while you're in it. A good example of this I got is a few months back. I was in here with my girlfriend. We were going to a car show. And on my way to pick her up, I'd gone and grabbed her a KFC. And what I'd got her was these kind of barbecue chicken bites that come in a little pot full of barbecue sauce. She'd got in the car, she was obviously sat there, stuffing her face with these barbecue chicken pieces. And lo and behold, what happens? She's there, barbecue sauce all over her face, in her hair, on her hands. Some kiddie pulls up in a BMW next to us, head out the window, screaming and shouting, phone on record. The look on my poor girlfriend's face as she was covered in barbecue sauce, having someone pay her all this attention because she was sat in the car, was hysterical. And we laugh and joke about that quite often now. But there's other things. It gives you almost no room for error. You stall at a set traffic light, someone's going to have a laugh at you. And things like when I do take it to work on the rare occasion, and I go into work very early, normally on the road by 5:30, 6 a.m. I'll be driving down a dual carriageway, smoking, still half asleep. I'll look to the right of me, or to the left of me, or straight in front of me. Someone will be flashing their lights, honking their horn, giving me a wave. And sometimes, as much as the attention is cool, you just don't want it. I just want to sit in my car, be tired and smoke my cigarette. So yeah, number 1 on the 5 best reasons and number 1 on the 5 worst reasons happen to be the same thing. The car's a celebrity, absolute double-edged sword, but it is what it is. I put up with it because I love the car and I absolutely wouldn't be without it. So that's going to do it for this one anyway. See you in the next one.